I'd spent 2 cases waiting for an answer from a man who doesn't write letters. I figured it would come the way these things come. A knock at 2 in the morning, or a friend of mine face down at low tide. So I sat in the gray light and listened to the rain and waited for the city to send its bill.
Coffee. Black, because the milk turned, and so did the man who sold it to me. And the Morning Chronicle, which you're going to want to actually read this time instead of using it for a coaster.
I read it, Dale, front to back. Same war, same ball games, same mayor swearing he's clean.
Not the front. The Civic Page. Page 9, down in the appointments, where they bury the things they don't want a man to notice over his eggs. Go on. I'll wait.
Page 9. 2 inches of column, a respectable photograph, the kind of smile they print when a man gets handed a public office and a key to the city, civic-minded, generous, a pillar, and there, set in cold little type under the picture, the name, the one I'd been bracing to hear shouted. There it was, whispered instead.
You went quiet. You only go that quiet when it's bad. Who is he?
Nobody you'd cross the street for. Sworn in next month. Sash, photographers, a brass band if he wants one.
That's the answer you've been losing sleep over, isn't it? It didn't come knocking. It got itself appointed.
I'd been watching the wrong door for a threat that was never going to use one. The man at the top hadn't sent a knife or a hard word. He'd sent a press release. He was climbing into the daylight where I couldn't touch him, and he wanted me to read about it over my coffee. So I'd know the silence had finally answered, and the answer was that it would shake my hand in public and dare me to flinch. The Chronicle newsroom at midnight smelled like cold coffee and hot lead. Flynn worked the late desk under a lamp the color of a bad tooth, and he had a copy of tomorrow's Civic Page laid out in front of him like a man reading his own obituary. I came in carrying a name I'd been carrying so long it had worn a groove in me. I figured the press was the one door left. Flynn looked up, and I knew before he opened his mouth that the door was already nailed shut.
Don't say it. I already know whose name is sitting on your tongue, and you can put it away because look, front of the Civics section, second column, special appointment to the advisory board over the new DA's office. Sponsored, vetted, confirmed, clean as a whistle and twice as loud.
An appointment, so while everybody was busy keeping his name out of print, he was busy getting it printed himself, in gold leaf.
That's the move. He's not under the DA anymore, he's over him, and the incoming man owes his chair to the appointment. You follow the money, and the money's wearing a sash now. There's no expose here, there's no crime on paper, there's a public servant doing public service.
I've got the name, Flynn. I've got where it's been.
And I've got nothing to hang it on. You print that name today, you're not a detective, you're a crank with a grudge knifing a man the mayor just shook hands with. It plays as slander and it dies, and the press route dies with it. For good this time. The window to spend that name closed quietly, friend, while we were all so careful keeping it shut.
He was right, and being right is the cheapest thing a man can be at midnight. The name I'd carried wasn't a weapon anymore. It was a credential. He'd taken the one thing they all wanted buried and pinned it to his own lapel where nobody could touch it, and he'd done it without ever once raising his voice. The press route was gone. The window was gone. And somewhere above all of it, the man at the top still hadn't said a word to me, because now he didn't have to. He'd answered with a Civic Page. The Blue Room at this hour was just smoke and a piano nobody was playing for. Pauly Marchetti sat in the back booth the way a man sits when the weights come off him. I'd seen him cornered, patient, lethal. I'd never seen him light. That was the part that turned my stomach.
Sit down, sit down. You look like a man carrying something heavy. Put it down a minute. Have a drink on me. Tonight I'm buying for friends. And tonight, believe it or not, I'm counting you one.
You're in a generous mood, Pauly. Last time we talked, you had your hand out and somebody else's name in it. What changed?
What changed is the man upstairs went and made himself respectable, clean, untouchable. A thing I couldn't buy him for all the money in this room, he went and bought himself. And the worry I've been carrying on his account, gone. Like that. Poof.
Then the name I gave back to the dark. Where does that sit now?
See, that's where you've been thinking about it wrong. The silence was never for sale, detective. And it was never to burn. It was to wait out. You sit on a thing long enough, the world moves around it. And one morning, you look down, and there's nothing left under your hand to sell. The arithmetic's closed. It came out even.
Even. And the people it cost along the way?
Spilt milk. Listen to me as a friend, and I mean that word. You've been pushing on this thing 12 different ways, looking for the move. There's no move left. A respectable man gets to be respectable now. That's the whole board. The smart play, the only play, is you let him.
He patted my arm like a man closing a book he'd enjoyed, and I walked out into the rain knowing he was right, which was the worst of it. For 12 cases, I'd been waiting for the man at the top to make a move. Pauly had just told me, gentle as a priest, that the move was there'd never be one. The board was clean, and a clean board in this city is just a grave nobody's filled in yet. The precinct steps were wet and going slick, the way they always are at this hour, and Brogan was standing on them like he'd grown there. He'd reached into my business twice now without a word about why. 2 hands in the dark and never a sound to tell me which way they were pulling. So I waited. A man who's quiet that long has either nothing to say or too much.
Don't say it. Whatever you got loaded, leave it in the chamber. I came down here to talk, and I'd just as soon do it before I lose the nerve.
That's a first, Patty. 20 years and you finally want to talk. I figured you for the type that'd take it to the box.
You figured wrong. You've been figuring wrong about me since the girl. You think the door I held open for you was the old grudge coming due, or some marker you owed. It wasn't either one. There's no debt between us. There never was.
Then what were the hands for, Brogan? Men don't reach into a fire twice for the scenery.
To keep you breathing. That's all. I've watched this city burn down better men than you, chasing a reckoning that was never gonna come. And I couldn't stomach standing there for one more. The appointment was already moving. I gave you the side door so you'd not spend yourself before the window shut on its own. It shut tonight. The silence came down from up top, and it came down without your name on it. You're still here. That was the whole of it. So let it lie. The name, the man above him, all of it. Let it lie and go home. I know it ain't mine to ask. I got no right to a thing from you, and I'm asking anyway.
And then he was gone, back up the steps into the yellow light, an old man who'd finally hung the door that had stood open between us since a girl went into the ground 20 years back. He'd told me everything except the one thing that mattered. He'd put the last move down on the wet stone between us and walked off so he wouldn't have to watch which way I carried it. He couldn't carry it for me. That was the part he couldn't say. Some doors you can hold open for a man. You just can't walk him through. 2 a.m, and the rain had nothing left to say. I'd spent 12 cases pushing on a door at the top of the building, the one with no handle on my side. Tonight it opened. Not for me. A man like that doesn't come down the stairs. He sends the weather ahead of him, and the weather was wearing heels.
Don't get up. I'm not staying, and you're not the kind to walk a woman to her car at this hour. I came with a message from a man you've never met and never will. He wanted you to hear it in a voice you'd remember.
A man with that much reach usually likes to deliver his own threats, keeps the personal touch.
It isn't a threat. That's the part you'll have trouble with. He knows what you carry. The name, the door Brogan left open, all of it. And he wants you to understand he isn't worried. Worry is for men who can be reached. He's behind a desk now. A respectable desk in a respectable building with a respectable name on the glass. You can't subpoena a chair. So he offers you this. Not silence bought, not a debt called, an understanding. You go on living in his city. He goes on running it. 2 men who know exactly what the other is and never say it out loud again. He calls that respect. He thinks you'll come to call it that too.
And if I'd rather pull the thread?
Then you'd be the only one pulling. There's no one left at the other end of it. He made sure of that on his way up the stairs. He isn't asking you to bury anything. He's telling you it's already buried, and that you helped. Good night, Detective. He says you're a reasonable man. He'd know. He buys them by the dozen.
I sat there a long time after the door clicked shut, the name in my hand like a fish too small to keep. 12 cases and the board had run out of squares. There was nothing to spend it on, nobody to hand it to, no fire left worth feeding it into. So I did the one thing the city had finally taught me. Nothing. I let the name go quiet, not into flame this time, but into water, the way the harbor takes everything sooner or later and asks no questions. Somewhere uptown, a respectable man hung his coat behind a respectable door. The rain washed the street the way it always had, cleaning nothing, moving the dirt from one gutter to the next. The city didn't change. That was the message. The next time that name mattered, it would matter from a chair I couldn't reach, and I'd already agreed without a word to let it.